And finally, how about that? Finally, that's Matthew Lloyd. Is that back again? Who says, "You have over 100,000 people following you on Facebook. What if each one of those people contributed just $1 a month towards winning back our culture? What impact could you make with $100,000 a month?" Matt, I don't know, because I would be gone. I'd be living in Idaho. I'd have my own Viper jet, and you would never see me again. I'd like to think that were actually true. But what if this organization were making 100 grand a month, which is within its reach? Certainly, we're nothing close to that yet, but it's within its reach. The first thing that would happen is, right now we're in a bit of a bottom of a bucket. We're a little bit trapped by our finances here, because we need more members in order to hire more people, and we need to hire more people in order for me to be able to do more videos in order to get more members. So the first thing I would do with $100,000 a month is to hire another 2 people, maybe another editor and another media person, so that I didn't have to touch anything that consists of housekeeping duties. I didn't touch anything. The only thing I do is write and perform, and that's all. And then the rest of most of that money I would put into promotion. It's amazing how much viewing you can buy for $1,000 in things like social media. I just put the resources into getting it seen. For years now, we've been a business, not just me, everybody, just about everybody. It's starting to change now. But for years, we were people who had a product, and we didn't, and our marketing and advertising, our sales plan, in fact, our entire sales strategy was this. If I ran Nike the way that I run BillWhittle.com, or any of the other ones for that matter, it would come down to something like this. I'm going to make the best shoes in the world, and then when they're finished, I'm going to personally hand carry the boxes out to the loading dock, and I'm going to leave them there, and I'm going to hope that somebody comes by, unannounced, picks up a pair of shoes, and decides to leave some money where the box was. And nobody even knows the shoes are there. We don't have a realistic advertising plan. We didn't anyway. We don't have a realistic marketing plan. Or depending on people's vision, I guess, because you're giving away most of what you do, and the reason you need members is so that you can continue to give it away. That's kind of the paradox here. There's a lot of people that have been watching this stuff. Somebody calculated, wasn't me, it was something like 50 million hits on YouTube and tens of millions on Facebook. And that's a large number of people in terms of my total reach. And all of the stuff that I've been doing for 8-9 years now has been, essentially all of it has been free and paid for by what used to be less than 1,000 people for 2 years. It's better now. But, yeah. And when you think about that, when you think about 1,000 people basically paying for what 50 million people are watching for free, it's sobering. Now, before anybody gets so upset about it, or starts feeling too guilty about this, this is all new. Not just new to me or you. It's just new. It's new on the earth. Television is free, and the internet is free, and television on the internet should be free, but it's not. It costs money, and there are a couple ways to do that, to get that money. But the only model that I've seen that works for a relatively limited budget is the membership thing. Because frankly, if you're dealing with advertisement, you're getting I don't know if it's $6 or 6 cents a click. I don't even know the numbers. If you have huge numbers of viewers, you can actually make pretty good money by using ads and that's your financial model. But if you don't have that kind of reach, if you don't have the resources to be posting 20, 30 things a day and make your site a destination site, then the ad revenues are simply inconsequential. They're not nothing, but they're probably $1,000 a month, something like that. You can't do this on that. So rather than having counting a click at 6 cents or whatever, what we're doing is we're looking at people who make the decision to become members as they're essentially, a member is the equivalent of 100,000 viewers or more. Maybe it's close to 1 million viewers. One member, the amount of money they pay, is worth hundreds of thousands of free views. So, it's hard to jar people. It's hard to make people pay for things that they've been getting for free. And to be perfectly fair, it's an understandable reaction. Why would you pay if it's free? There's a small number of people, and many of them are watching the show right now, who understand that somebody has to do it, and they step up and do it, and I'm very grateful, and I think there's a lot of people out there that are very grateful. I know for an absolute certain fact that if I go on a speaking engagement, I'll hear this many times at the event, and often I'll hear it in airports. People will just come up to me and say, "Are you Bill Whittle?" And I say, "Yes." And they say, "I just wanted to thank you for the work you do and make me feel like I'm not alone out there, you know." And so the fact that these videos are free means they reach a lot of people, and they're having an impact, I think, I hope. But there is no other model that we can use. If I could slap a commercial into the middle of this show, or into the middle of Bill Whittle Live, or put a commercial at the front or the end of Firewalls, and those commercials would return anything like the kind of money we need, I wouldn't be dealing with this membership thing at all, because it's a hard thing to sell. It's hard to sell people. It's hard to get people to pay for things if other people are getting it more or less for free. Now, with all that said, I think that the live show is the best membership bait that we've ever come up with. Certainly, I mean, if you're paying, if you're thinking about paying to watch me or listen to me, then listening to me every day for half an hour on the stories that are happening that moment is probably the most valuable thing I have to offer. And we'll see. But regardless of what happens with the membership and Bill Whittle Live stuff, the stuff that really matters, stuff like the socialism video and capitalism and money and all the rest of it, that goes out free for people to see. It's really, really important. We don't charge people. We don't show the important work to members only. The members understand that the reason that they're members is so that this can get out wide. And by the way, many times we'll have members-only content. Usually it's a right-angle show or something. And we'll often, not that often, but every 4 or 5 weeks or something, we'll do a show for members that many members either write to us in person or put a comment up saying, you need to make this public. You need to let other people see this. And what they're essentially doing is they're opening up their value. They're basically saying, yes, I get this and other people don't because I pay and they don't, but it's important. Now, James Burkholtz up there says that Dave Rubin uses Patreon, and I got to tell you, there are a lot of things out there that I just don't have time to understand. I know how Patreon works, and apparently he's making a living at it, so that's something we would look into. Patreon is a way, it's like a tip jar, basically, and if you like a video, you can just put whatever you want in that jar for that video. And Dave, I think we're talking about the same guy who was at I was sharing some time with him at the election night coverage over at Daily Wire. He seems to be making a living doing that, and so as a matter of fact, to be perfectly honest with you, James and the rest of you guys, it's something I'm going to do first thing in the morning, because there are so many ways of doing this, and it's enough work to keep one person busy, just believe me, getting the stuff out the door. It's and the nice thing about Patreon is it's not an either or. It's not like you have to go either membership or Patreon. I've given Kickstarter and crowdfunding support, and a couple of good long hard thoughts. I'm trying to save that for the films, I think. By the way, I think on Friday I am going to do. I'm going to introduce you to some people that I met they're Russian immigrants, and they're trying to start a church here. And I met them through my fiance, but they impressed me so much that in the middle of all this work, I did a 6-minute video telling their story, and they've got a crowdsourcing. I think it's a GoFundMe, and I actually paid real cash to keep these people going. when I heard the story, I just thought it was the most American story I've ever heard in my life, ever. And I'm going to run it probably Friday, and I'm going to run it a couple times. You can hear me talking about that for the next week or so. These are people who came to America, are doing things the right way, are determined to make sure that other immigrants not only do things legally, but they do things patriotically. And they're making a lot of lives better. And I was so impressed that I put a significant amount of my weekend time, and I didn't have much of that either, into helping them out. And hopefully you'll feel the same way as I do, because I think the video that we did for them was very, very cool. Victoria is saying, tell them about Twitch. I don't know what Twitch is either, but you know what? I'll look it up. I'm going to just put it down here. These kids with their crazy internet things. You know, I was on the Google, and I was on the Facebook, and now I'm on the YouTube, and I want somebody to get, you know, get me to the Google so that I can get my email. Yeah. Anyway, hey, that was kind of fun and a little more laid back.